Thank you so much, Laura. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. It's such a pleasure. To start with, just like Laura has mentioned, I have 24 years of experience in the educational sector, from English teacher to English head of department, and then to curriculum specialist now with McGraw Hill. But the most important title I've ever held is me being an English teacher. I respect teaching and teachers, so thank you so much for having me. You are the unsung heroes, as always. With that being said, what we see in front of us is the landing page of StudySync. I will start with the landing page because there's a wealth of resources that you shouldn't be missing on. Have you been former users of StudySync or new to the platform? These are things you shouldn't be missing on. So from the landing page, I will scroll all the way to the bottom, as you can see, and I will get you to the Help Center. As you can see within the Help Center, once we click on the Help Center, we will find all of the training modules that we need. The special thing about them is that sometimes, even if you're a user of the platform and you have questions you need to be answered, you would find trainings in the form of recorded modules that you can benefit from. You can even register for our training webinars. These happen every fortnight. So every around 2 weeks, you would find that there's a webinar. If you register for it, you will be notified within your email. You have teaching labs. These have to be my favorites because these are taken from real life classrooms where you would find teachers with students using the platform, doing the first read, the close read, the routines, the skill lessons. And there are so many things that we can benefit from. These are like best practices that you can learn from. And maybe you yourselves will be one day featured because you have special practices that you would like to share. In addition to that, as you know, since the platform is both in digital and you also have the print component, you have the blended learning option where you can learn how you can use the platform if you wish to use the print along with the digital. These are things you can benefit from. In addition to that, you would have your student walkthrough video. It's just like the name says, it helps your students benefit from the experience. It shows them how they can log in, what are the features that they will see, the folders that they will see, the tasks, and how to address them. So basically, everything you need is in these riches at the very bottom of the landing page. We also have the Q&A. If you have a question, it's probably has been asked before and we have answered it. So we have listed all the questions. We have categorized them under assessment, assignment, library, curriculum. So you can find the questions listed along with the answers. So I think there's, oh, that's Laura sharing the link. Very good. Now let's go back to the very top. I'm starting with the top shelf. I'll start from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. I'm clicking on curriculum to show you that no matter which grade level you're teaching, you have access to all the books from grade 6 all the way till grade 12. So let's say I'm teaching grade 8. I'll just simply click on 8 and this will take me straight to my grade level book. This will be in the form of units, so I won't have the pages per se. I would have them in lesson by lesson, blade by blade form. So at the very top, I would have four, we call them the magical documents because of how much time they save us. Now, as you can see, these are all downloadable and in PDF form. So if you needed them in paper form, feel free to print them out. If you're into digital, you can just download them, or if you want to just keep them in the platform, you can access them at any time. Now, I will start with the standard map. Let's open this document together. Now, as you can see, this is a 22-page document, so it's quite rich. It's not a double pager that you can just go over very quickly. This is something that stays with you for a while. It starts with an introduction showing you that the RL, RI, W, SL, and L standards of the Common Core standards have all been listed for you. It takes you through the selections, showing you exactly what selections you will be covering, along with the Lexile level, what skill lessons will be included within which, and what would be the spotlight skill. When I say spotlight, keep it in mind that these will be components for reteach whenever you need them. This is something we will see in the library once we reach the library, but whenever you see the word spotlight, this is for your spiraling and reteach components, and this will be available everywhere, as we will see. Let's just check the chat box. Good morning, everyone. Now let's keep scrolling a little bit down to show you that whenever the students do any reading, the students will also write about it. So we read about it, we talk about it, we write about it. Keep that in mind. These three components will always be with you. So whenever we have any lesson with the StudySync, the students will be targeting all of the skills that we need them to target within English. Now, as we're moving forward, you would notice that we would have a genre of focus, as in like informational text or poetry, etc. But we would always also have different genres of exposition within the very same unit. Now, moving forward, we also have the ELA overview. We have the scope and sequence that shows me how many standards have been targeted and where exactly they were targeted within the lesson. In here at the very top, I have all of my lessons within the unit, and then this shows me exactly how many times the standards were targeted. So why is that the case? It's because in case, for example, we were tight for time, and there is a very good chance that a monkey paw will not be taught within the unit, we didn't have time for it, I can check the standards and I'll make sure that they will be targeted later on during the year and that the students are not missing on any standard. Now, this will be the case for every unit, as you can see, and this keeps moving forward till the end of the year. Now, how many units do I have per year? Can anyone tell me? Anyone who has experience with StudySync and can tell me? I just need you to drop the number. How many units per year? Any idea? Super. So this gives me the option to help you out. Every single grade level within StudySync has systematically 6 units, as you can see, units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's very consistent. So whether I'm opening grade 6 or grade 12, I would notice that there are 6 units spaced over 30 days of instruction, giving you around 180 days of instruction. With that being said, if I scroll down a little bit more, I would notice that the middle schoolers, grades 6, 7, and 8, have 8 suggested novel studies. We are providing you with the guide, not the novel itself, because the novel is under copyright. If you decided to order the novel, of course you can. But in here, we are providing you with suggestions and the guides for you as a teacher. Does this mean that I have to do a novel? Of course not. These are only suggestions in case you wish to have a literature circle, a novel study. These will always be available for you. Now, if I scroll down a little bit more, I will keep this there for a second. I want you to take a look at the titles of these blades because they're very, very important. They are time savers. They will help you out during the year. They will have the drills you need for your students. Now, as we've mentioned before, whenever I see the sign of the cloud, this means this is downloadable. And whenever I see the PDF sign, this means this is in PDF form. So this is downloadable and in PDF form. Now, as you can see, you have lots of resources for foundational skills. You might ask me, but Nasreen, this is grade 6. Foundational skills are K to 2. In case you have tier 2 or tier 3 students that still need support, you would have the foundational skills ready for you to use, to employ in whichever way possible. Let's wait for this to open. Now, as you can see, this is 1,059 pages. So this is not only a few pages of worksheets that the students can benefit from. This would go from fluency to decodables to foundational skills. So if I click on decodables, you would notice that all of the decodable passages along with their assessments have been provided. They are in a form that is already in reproducible form. So if you decided that you wish to print these for your students, you wish to download them, if you have an LMS system in which you can share these with your students, all of these are options that you have. So we have phonics, phonemic awareness, all of these foundational skills you need for segmenting, decoding, etc., that you can use or not. So why do we have these here? In case you need them. Oh, I can see hearts coming out. Thank you. So in case you need them, they are provided, as you can see. Now I will go to the center to the student edition, grammar, language, and composition. Now, why am I saying student edition? Because whenever you see SE, this means that there will be a TE or an answer key for you as teachers. So let's start with the student edition. Now, you know, drilling is very important. The practice for your students, the worksheets are always very important. Now, as you can see, this targets grammar, language, mechanics, etc., and writing. So whenever you check the worksheets, you would notice that they start in the form of instruction, and then they move forward to being worksheets. So for example, if I'm looking for prepositional phrases, I can just go ahead and use the search engine, look for the prepositional phrases pages, and this would give me all the drills I have for prepositional phrases. These are already in the form of worksheets. They can be printed and reproduced if you need it for them to be. Now, what about the answer key? These are 833 pages of worksheets. Do we as teachers have time to answer them? Absolutely not. With that being said, we have the teacher's edition where this very same workbook has been answered page by page for you so that you can share these answers for peer check. If you want the students to autocorrect for themselves, you always have that option. So the correction is not on you as teachers. The answer key has already been provided. There's some awesome. I like that. Yes, thank you, Miss Lisa. I agree. It's very awesome. Now, what about vocab? We do understand that academic vocab and content vocab are available within the lessons. So these are skill blades that are available. Now, what about the skills like prefixes, suffixes, affixes, Greek, Latin roots? These are skills that our students need to acquire, especially if they're going to sit for international examination where this skill is acquired. Now, as you can see in here, if I go back to page 1, I would find that the vocab workbook is available in workbook form and answer key form again. So see, no answering from the teachers whatsoever. If I move forward to the pages, I would have the lessons divided in unit by unit form, and this would take the students through the process from I would say, the least challenging to the most challenging. As we're moving forward, again, you would find that these are in the form of worksheets. So if you needed to reproduce them, download them, and share them, these are options that you have. The same applies to spelling. We have a spelling workbook. It really works on all those rules that the students need to acquire. If you have like spelling bee within your school and you need them to acquire those skills, these are all options that you have. Again, it comes with its very own answer key. If you have any questions at this point, feel free to ask them. I'll be more than happy to answer, and I'll keep moving forward so that we use the time to the best of its potential. Now, as I'm moving forward, we have PBL in here. This PBL component is from grade 6 all the way till grade 12. Let's open the document together. Now, as you can see in page 1, it would say this is 6 to 12 with additional resources, which I will show you what they are. Now, once I scroll down, you would notice that we are providing you with 6 PBLs per year. Does this mean that I need all of them? Not necessarily. We leave it up to you as a school. You can decide, I want to do one per unit. Maybe I want to do one per year or one per term. So you can choose, the selection is there, and you can choose whichever you feel like, because we also have projects and research within the book. Now let's go ahead and choose one from whichever grade level we're interested in. Absolutely, absolutely. So the writing component is already within the book. I will be able to show you that. In addition to whatever I have shown you in the workbook that says grammar, language, and writing, you already have the writing component there that will help with the writing, but this is also in addition to the units themselves. We'll be able to see that. Thank you so much for your question. Now let's go ahead and choose any. It doesn't really matter. So public awareness campaign. Good morning. So once you click on the title itself, this will take you to the page that has the project. Now, of course, the questions to be asked and answered are provided. The engagement component and the big question are all provided. Now, once I start moving forward, as you can see, we take them through the process of PBL so that they learn how to do the project, how to ask the questions, how to find solutions, how to help their community. Now, once we move forward, you would notice that there are certain checklists that they need. There are some organizers that they need to fill. So once I reach to that point and I need the KWHL chart, I'll just click on it and this will take me to the provided resource. Now, as you can see, these can be used in multiple ways, so we kept it open. We didn't specifically say this is for this project because if you needed it for anything else, why not? So we kept it open, and as you can see, this is again printable. You would have all of those minutes of the meeting documents, etc., mind maps created for you. So when we said additional resources, this stood for all the maps and the graphic organizers that you have in here. If I keep scrolling, you would notice that they are ample. You can use them as you may. And this again adds to the developmental writing skills, as you can see. Now, I had a question for the writing, so I would like to target that again. In case you wish to see what writing skills will be targeted within each grade level, you can just go ahead to the very same page that starts the writing progression. As I'm scrolling down, you would notice that I have a single page that shows all the writing we're doing from grade 6 all the way till grade 12 and when we're spiraling. So if I'm looking for the research component, let's take a look. So research is in unit 4 in grade 6, again in unit 5 in grade 7, 4 in grade 8, 3 in grade 9, 10, 11, and as you can see, 12. So we're spiraling as we're moving forward. We're retargeting those genres that the students need to master before they graduate. And whenever you see oral project, rest assured that these will start as writing projects. So there is no such a thing as the students will just stand there, talk about their favorite, let's say, animal, etc., without writing first. So even the oral projects will start as writing projects. Now, what if I wish to know a little bit more? Remember when I said oral project? Take a look at this. It starts with the description, what the final product is going to be, how the storytelling is going to be from grade 6 all the way till grade 12. Moving forward, as you can see, the drafting and revising. So we take them through the process of writing from grade 6 all the way till grade 12 to teach them that I don't just start writing an essay, I need to draft, I need to plan, I need to revise and edit before I can say this essay is ready to be published. So far, so good? The same applies to the grammar progression. This would show you exactly which lessons you're teaching in which grades. So for example, if I'm working on adverbs and I wish to see when this will be targeted in each grade level, I can just go ahead and check. And as you can see, you have a legend in here that tells you what the colors stand for. So if it's a grammar and language, spelling, usage, and mechanics, this would always show you in color form so that your life is quite easy and you know exactly. Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure. So as you can see, these documents, as I've mentioned before, are all in PDF form and they are downloadable. So make sure to use them. Any worksheets that you might need, you will find them in this place. Don't like spend so much effort and time creating them because they have already been created. Now I'll scroll all the way to the top, going back to my units. And as you can see, every unit has like this big idea. They're thematic units, so they will follow the very same theme. We have two blades underneath each and every unit. I will start with the blade of the pacing guide. So let's open this together. This would tell me exactly how many units I need per selection. So my big idea is going to be days 1, 2, and 3. So I need 3 instructional days for this. These are going to be my skills and my standards. So the standard is always listed after my skill. Now, once I start moving forward, I would notice that I have my skill and standard, yet I also have my spiraling. So if I needed to go back to the same idea but develop a little bit more, I would notice that. Then we would have the spotlight skill. Remember what I said about the spotlight before? It's where I can spiral and I can reteach. So if I taught figurative language, but I still have some students who did not master, I would have a spotlight skill lesson that can help me readdress and retarget so that the students who did not acquire the knowledge can go ahead and acquire. So as I'm moving forward, I'm reaching the end of the month. I would notice that after day 23, I have my writing. So as you can see, the writing is over multiple days because as I've mentioned before, we'll start from drafting all the way till publishing. So it's not a one-day task, just go ahead and write. Not at all. They will learn. There will be modeling lessons that they can learn from. There will also be the grammar lessons, as you can see within that. And as I'm moving forward, I have my end of unit assessment. Now, your end of unit assessment has already been created for you, but it's editable. So if you wanted to edit, you wanted to import questions, you wanted to delete some questions, all of these are options that you have. Now, what if you wanted the assessment to be on paper? It's printable. So it's editable, it can be modified, it's printable, and it's assignable in digital form. So no matter what you decided to do with the assessment, all of the options are open for you. Now, what about the assessment? As you can see, the assessment would have fresh reads. So these are not selections that they have targeted before. All of these are new sections new selections, but look at the skills. They are the same skills that we have acquired during the lesson, but we're testing them in fresh component, fresh reads, as you can see. Now, what about the grammar? Again, the grammar would be a part of our assessment in addition to the writing. Hello, hello, everyone. Now, what about our tier 2 and tier 3 students? We need to support them. There are skills that they didn't acquire. They need extra lessons, and we as teachers don't have to create them. So we usually choose for you two selections from your core ELA unit, but we work on the skills within these lessons. As you can see, we provide you with all the skill lessons that you might need. Will I necessarily use all of them? 100% not. Maybe I have students who did not acquire the vocab. Maybe I have students who did not acquire the verb tenses, but not necessarily everything. So you can use from these lessons whatever you need. If you needed all of them, you can use all of them. If you needed one of them, again, that's an option that you have. Hello, hello, everyone. So if I close this document and I click now on my curriculum blade, which is the orange, this is where the flesh is. This is where the lessons are going to be. My selections are going to be. So everything we have seen so far has been prepping me for the unit. So let's go ahead and click on the unit together to see what this has to offer. Now, as you can see, once this opens, you have a unit overview in video form just to prep you and your students to what this unit is going to be about. Let's see this together.
His first word is ball. At 2, he can aim a kick. By 10, he sleeps in his soccer jersey. How do our early achievements define us? How do these definitions support us or limit us? What happens when, in 7th grade, he discovers the guitar? The past can be a blueprint for our future, or a place we never revisit. What role does the past play in your life? What makes you, you?
I love these big questions. Honestly speaking, sometimes I feel like I want to answer them. I use StudySync as a teacher in the classroom. So when we used to have the essential question and we used to think, because like a question like what makes you you is like a question that the students would need to start thinking. And it's not a question that you can immediately answer. It's not a yes no question. It's something that you would have to think before you answer. And there's always, like I used to say, 1, 2, 3, we have 2 minutes. I don't need an answer before you start thinking. So it's not an impulsive answer. It's an answer that you need to think about before you answer. Now, moving forward, you would find that we have a paragraph that introduces you and your students to the writers. And then you would have all of those, what are the unit texts that we're going to target? Remember when I mentioned you would have a genre of focus, but then you would have some others. Then you would have what reading skills you will be targeting, grammar skills, writing skills, and if you needed any additional lessons, we are providing you with these. So, for example, I finished the lessons. I still have 2 days before the unit is over. I need to keep going. So, I would have extra lessons already created for me. I can just go ahead and use them. Now, in addition to that, I would have my integrated reading and writing. This is basically where my selections, are going to be. So, for example, if I'm doing The Road Not Taken, which happens to be one of my favorite poems ever. So I would notice that we follow Dr. Douglas Fisher close reading routine. So the students will have a first read, depth of knowledge 1 and 2, where they are just acquiring the knowledge, who the writer is, what is the poem about, etc. And then we would have a skill lesson or two, because sometimes you would have 2 or even 3 skill lessons. And then we would have the close read. We're going into the depth of knowledge 3 and 4. We're thinking about the poem a bit critically. Now, have you noticed that every single one of these lessons has its very own lesson plan? So let's go ahead and open these. Now, the lessons plans are systematically created for all of your lessons. You don't have to worry about lesson planning, the objective, how much time this is going to take, even the standards, as you can see, how to activate prior knowledge to make the connection, etc. entry point. Now, once we reach to the optional part, this means that we're giving you voice and choice as teachers. We're not dictating, you don't have to do it this way. We're just suggesting. So if you wish to check the optionals, you would notice that we always give you optionals. We give you voice and choice as a teacher to choose. Now, when we give your students any questions, you would find that we are providing you with the answer in purple color. Now, if we move forward, even for your multiple choice questions provided for your students, we are giving you the correct, incorrect, and the same AP style. So if it's correct, we're telling them why it's correct. If it's incorrect, again, we're telling them why it's incorrect. So this way, no one can say, but Miss, I thought that C was supposed to be the answer. We can show them exactly why C was not the answer. So this way, even for the open-ended, as you can see, we are providing you with sample answers. So if it's on you, it's definitely on us, and we are taking the responsibility for it. Now, your students' accounts would have a clean slate, and their assignment is like a white blade. There's nothing on it. So how do the students get access to these lessons? Simply by you clicking on assign, choosing the class, and clicking assign. So this way, they're not overwhelmed with what they see. It's not a full book that they need to flip through the pages of. You can just choose it. If you choose the target group as blue, let's say I'm choosing colors, I can just click on create assignment and it will make its way to my students. So my students don't have to worry about looking for the pages. Once I assign it, they would have access to it. Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, moving forward to the preview, if I wish to see this from a student's perspective, I would like to read the poem. I can just click on preview and this will take me straight to the student's edition. Now, as you can see, every introduction would have an introductory video and it would also have an audio where the students can listen.
Robert Frost, 1874 to 1963, was Poet Laureate of Vermont, whose poetry earned him 4 Pulitzer Prizes.
Now, once I'm ready, the students have seen the video, they have listened, they have read the introduction, they're ready to read the poem. I'll take them to the read. They can even listen to the poem itself. So this way they can even practice. So many a times, if I had students who were a bit weak, I would say, listen to it multiple times before you read it yourself. Just this way they are learning. I wouldn't say route, but at least they're learning from what they're listening to. Now, as I'm moving forward to the quiz, they would have multiple questions. They can split their screen. So the poem and the questions are side by side. They can move between the questions, as you can see in here. And then they would have their think questions where they would have open-ended questions. Now, the good question is, how will my weaker students be supported? What if I have students who are at the beginning proficiency level as such? Will there be no support for them? So let's take a look. If I'm at a beginning proficiency level, can everyone see the scaffolds that appeared once I chose for the student a beginning level? When it's introduction time, my scaffolds would look like speaking frames that would enable me as a student to take part in the discussion that's happening in the classroom. When it's time for me to read, I'm provided with a visual along with the definition glossary, as you can see in here, that would help me understand the meaning of words. Then I would have a summary with the vocab words, as you can see in bold, to help me understand what these words that appeared in the poem were, and some more speaking frames to keep taking part in the discussion. Now, once it's quiz time, as you can see, the scaffolds have been pulled out. We're not supporting that they have the answer for the quiz. We're supporting them understanding what's happening. Now, look at the beauty of the think questions. Once it's time for the think questions, my scaffolds reappeared. And as you can see in here, I would have a word bank and an answer key where the students can type in the answer or just copy and paste it from the word bank and move it automatically into the answer box. Now, if I have a child who is dyslexic, who can't type very quickly, who has trouble typing, imagine what kind of help this is going to provide him. Now, what if I was an advanced high student? What would this look like for me? Now, as you can see, the scaffolds did appear for me in the form of guiding questions. So we're not giving him any answer frames. This is my star student. He doesn't really need any answer frames. I'm just supporting him by guiding him through these guiding questions. Now, how will the system know what the student needs? How will the system know I'm at the beginning level and you are at an advanced level. Let me show you. So together from the very top, we are going to choose users. And from users, we are going to choose students. So I chose users and then I chose students. And as you can see in here, I have proficiency level. So once you have enough information, you've done your diagnostic, you've done your observation, you've done your benchmark, and you can say that this student is going to be at an intermediate level, you will go ahead and choose intermediate. And from that point onwards, the selection will keep going with those scaffolds for the student. Now, what if the student improved? He was at an intermediate and became advanced, or was intermediate, became beginning. You can always change. So I can see there's a comment. Yeah, yeah, you do. You have this and much, much more. If you're using Wonders, you have foundational skills all the way. You don't have to worry about that. So the support is there, and I've chosen the what I have shown you so far. Now let me just choose a different unit to show you that in every single unit you have a leveled selection. Now, as you can see in here, integrated reading and writing, if I go to my unit overview and I choose my unit text, I would notice that there's always one that's going to be leveled for me. This means that it's available at 4 different Lexile levels. So if I assign this to my students, each of them will get it according to the level of proficiency I have chosen. I have my writing and grammar lessons, as you can see. And these, if I go ahead and preview, would come with their very own definitions, their very own modeling, their very own your turn, as you can see. Now, what about the grammar? If I close the writing blade and I open the grammar blade, I would also notice that there are definitions, there are examples and lessons, and there's always your turn part. So this way the students can practice. You would have your ELL resources provided and your end of unit assessment. Now, I've mentioned before that your end of unit assessment is editable. Did you remember me mentioning that? Let's take a look how we can edit the assessment. So the first thing I would do is that I will hit the assessment center, and from assessment, I will choose filter. Now, why am I choosing filter? It's because I don't have time to check all 541 assessments. I want to choose the specific one that applies to me. So I'll just go ahead and choose grade 11. I'm looking for the end of unit assessment, and I'm looking for unit 5. I'll just go ahead and do that and show you that this narrows down my options immediately to what I'm looking for. Brilliant. I'm also excited to see you guys. And actually, the successes you will achieve with this platform, seeing how excited you are, is non-negotiable. I'm certain you will see success with that. So once I click on that, you would notice that in here I have the questions, I have the standard, the details. So once I hit questions, this would give me the option to preview the questions, or if I wish to preview the whole assessment, I can even do that. If I want to have it in PDF, again, I can do that. But most importantly, I can view the answer key. So when I do that, this would give me a PDF. Let's give it a second to open. That would show me not only the question and the answer, it would show me the Common Core standard correlation, the depth of knowledge, the type of question, and the scoring method. Now, if I scroll down, this would show me the questions and the answers in details. And if there are any sample answers I need, they will be provided. Even if it's a full essay answer, this will be provided, as you can see. So even the essay questions have been answered for you. Now, I promised that this is editable, right? So we'll choose together to clone the assessment and keep your eye on screen to see what's going to happen. Can you see what happened? It's as if it's a Word document at this point. So the whole assessment now is editable. I can delete questions, I can edit questions, I can duplicate questions, I can drag, I can drop. So it's literally a Word document. I can do with this whatever I feel like. Now, what if I decided, yeah, I want to delete this question, I'll delete it, but I would like to import some more. I would like to add my own question. I can create a question and add my own. So this way, for example, if we're talking about the school values, I'd like to add question about the school values. So what are the school values? I can create it. If I decided I'd like to create a question about something that we've done in social studies, I can create it. Now, what if I decided I'd like to import? Because we have a bank that has over 5,000 questions. I agree, Miss Lisa, it is genius. So if I decided, for example, I'd like to add a question or import a question from the bank, I'll just choose to import. And from filter, I would say, yes, I need a grade 11 question. I want depth of knowledge 4. I'm looking for an essay question. Look at what happened. Immediately, it dropped down from 5,000 questions to 32 questions only. Let's take a look at this. Yes, this is essay. The score is out of 10. Probably this is a good one. I'll click on it. It immediately takes me to the question and asks me to read through it to make sure that this is exactly what I'm looking for. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I'll import the question and it has been added, as you can see. Is this the only question I need? Thank you so much. Yes, I'm very happy you like that. Of course not. I can keep adding questions. Now, another feature I used to use this platform for is that sometimes, because the bank is so rich, I used to create my own worksheets. So, for example, I needed to add a passage and few grammar questions. So I would create an assessment, but instead of calling it assessment, I used to call it worksheet one. And then I would import the passage, import grammar questions, and there you go. Sometimes I need revision before the exam. I don't need to create the whole worksheet. I can just import from the bank, create my very own assessment, and it's that simple and that easy. So, new assessment, name it worksheet one, create it, print it, or assign it, and it's that simple. So, your assessment center is very rich, your question bank is very rich. You can search by standard, you can search by type, 4,547 questions, as you can see. Now, what if I need passages? Of course, you have lots and lots of passages, 584 in specific. You can always filter. So if I'm looking for fiction, I want it for reading or maybe for grammar, I can choose. I want it for the Victorian age, so let me narrow down a little bit to make it Victorian. I want the Lexile level to be starting from 800, so I can make it 800 onwards. So I can narrow down my options, and the more I narrow down, the less I have to read. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Emma. Thank you. Now, the reporting. Whenever you do any assessment via the platform, we will do the reporting for you. We will show you where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are. Of course, for me, this is a demo account, so I don't have real students, but you will be able to run the report. You can create report, you can clone the report, you can even delete the report. So reporting is always on us. You don't have to do the analysis question by question. This will be done automatically if you do the assessment via our platform, if you assign it to your students. Now, the library. The library, being a person who loves to read, my pleasure, of course. So, being a person who loves to read, I personally enjoyed the library because of how rich it is. Look at how many titles we have. We have over 1,300 titles. This number keeps growing, so we keep adding to it. It's not a one time thing, like it's 1,300. Maybe by the end of the year, it will be over 1,400 because we started with 1,148 last year, and look at the number now. So, once we choose the filter, look at how many options we have. Filter is always your best friend because it narrows down your options. No one has the time to read 1,300 titles. So if I just go ahead and say, for example, I'm looking for a full text and I'm looking for a novel. Yeah, so I chose two filters. I'll scroll down with you, and as you can see, this gave me multiple options. So let's say I'm looking for Black Beauty. Once I click on that, I would notice that it's available in PDF form. So if I wish to download it with my students, I can. And as you can see, it's beautiful, it's printable, it can be read. The students can download it. They can highlight, they can add notes. So all of these are options that they have. Now, if I go back, how will this support me as a teacher? So it's perfect. The novel is there. What else do I need? Within my introduction, I would have a video and an introduction about the writer herself. Of course, you know the videos, they're very interactive and very beautiful. You would have the vocab. Now, again, this is printable because if you, in case you needed this as an extra resource, you have it available there, and you have the answer key so that you don't have to answer it. You have the read with the audio option in case you want them to listen. You would have the quiz questions. Again, you can print them and you can have the answer key. You would have the thick questions that are printable, and you would have the writing prompt, as you can see. So we always give you multiple writing prompts in case you wish to choose, you can choose. Now, do I need to print this? Absolutely not. If you wish to assign it to your students, you can use it as a reading assignment, choose the students or the target group, and assign it. So in case you want to print it, you can. In case you want to assign it again, you can. So far, so good? No, it's just a school. Liwa testing is just a school. I chose the name of a school in order to create an assessment. Okay, so Liwa means nothing, it's just a school. Now, blasts. You know, fiction is important, but nonfiction and making the connection to the real world is always very important. So we create, can you see the date? August 2nd, which is the day before yesterday. We add every week 2 new blasts for you that are current and up to date. They have to do with whatever is happening in space, in reality. Absolutely. And the special thing about these blasts is that they're quite short, so they wouldn't take more than 4 minutes to read. And they come with a single question that the students need to answer. So let's go ahead and open a single one together. Let's take a look at this. Let's preview it together. Now it would have a cover picture, as you can see. It would have a big question, and there's something to read in here. Now, once the students read, they would need to tweet back, blast back, as we call it, and there's a single question that they need to answer. Now, how did I use this in my classroom? Because it would take between 4 to 5 minutes, I used it as a class settler. So whenever the students came into the classroom and there's something they need to read or something they need to know, I would always activate prior knowledge within that matter. They would have a quick poll that they needed to answer. So let's say in here, they would submit. This would show them in a graph form later who agreed with them, who disagreed. And there's a number crunch, which is a number taken from the article. So they need to guess what was the 20 million after they've read. Once they do, like they finish reading, they have an answer. I can show them the answer. This, again, is a very good lesson starter if you have early finishers. It's a good homework. So, for example, on that day you didn't have a homework, you can always assign a blast. How many blasts do we have? 642. Can we filter? 100%. We can always filter. If I want them to read about sports, if I want them to read about history, I can always choose my tag, and this will narrow down my options. Now, skill lessons. No matter the skill, no matter the grade level, you would always have skill lessons. As you can see, has it been grammar, spelling, academic vocab, you would have skill lessons. Now, what if I need a reteach component, or for ELL students, you can always find the lessons in here. You would have multiple of them. And if you were looking for something in specific, you can just type prepositional phrases, let's say. And once you do that, you would find that these lessons are ready to be assigned for you. So if I've taught the lesson and there are still students who did not grasp the idea, I would find extra lessons in here that are also assignable and will be data informing for you as teachers. So they would have a component where the students need to answer, and they would have the instructions given in video form so that you don't have to instruct yourselves. Now the units. Of course, we agreed that the units are provided within my curriculum and they are ready to be used, etc. Now, what if I need extra units? You have an SEND department and you need extra units for them. You would notice that every grade level has 11 extra units. So in case you needed them, you can go ahead and use them. As you can see, they are provided in here. Do we really need them? We might not. Honestly speaking, I've created, as a head of department, once a unit. I've created it from scratch. So I've imported from the library. I created my own unit and I've put it together for them so that the teacher doesn't have to worry about finding resources. So I've put them together in one place for her. You might or might not use it, but it's a feature that you have. Now, writing prompts. Of course, writing is part of your every unit. What if I needed extra resources? I have a student who's going for AP language and composition. He needs to write a single essay per week. We don't have that much. So I'll just go ahead to the prompts. I have 252. I can assign for them the ones that are respond to literature. I can assign argumentative, persuasive, informative. No matter what I need, I will find it there, as you can see. Now, what about the standards? Of course, if I'm looking for a specific standard, let's say I'm looking for RI grade 8.1, immediately it finds the standard for me. So I'm missing on the standard. I was not able to teach it and I'm still missing on it. So I'll just click on that and it would tell me these are the lessons that cover the standard. Do you want to assign them? So I can just go ahead and say, yes, I want this lesson, I want to assign it. So this way, I'm not missing on any standards anymore. Any standard that you're looking for, we will find it for you just like that. You just need to type it in. So far, so good. Everything so clear? Amazing. Okay. Super. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay. Now, everything you assign, you would find under your assignment. Whether the students have revised, you have given data, you have given information, it would be listed in here. I haven't received any since I don't have any students. I haven't revised any since I don't have any students, but you can always check in here. You would have all of your assignments listed, you would have your tests, and you would even have your rubrics. Now, what if I'm looking for a rubric in specific? Let's say I want something for peer review. I can just go ahead and type in immediately. Look, I just put peer and immediately it appeared. You have your peer review. Now, what if you decided you want to create your own? So you've created a project and you want to add your own rubric to our platform, you can. So you can just create your own rubric. We'll give you the space. You can just add a name, add the descriptives, add your evaluation, and it will be added to the platform. So you adding is no issue at all. You can add to the platform. Now, what if I wish to create an assignment other than the ones that are available? I want to add a grade only. So I've done oral presentations and I want to add it to the marks. I can just go ahead and say, I want to add a grade only. So I just needed my own column and I will call it oral presentation. And I will choose my target group. I will add my instruction. I will even add my rubric. I will add cover picture and create my own assignment. So you adding an assignment is an option. You can do that for sure. Now, once I choose users, I would notice that I have two categories, which are groups and students. If I choose groups, this means that I'm creating my own group. Does the student know that he has been grouped? 100% not. I have no idea that I have been marked as red or pink or purple, high achiever, low achiever. They will not know. So why do we have the grouping? It's just to make your life easier in case from the library you decided group red is getting Black Beauty as a novel, group blue is getting From Outer Space as a novel. They will never know. So the grouping is to make your life easier. Once you click on create group, you will have to give it a name. The name can be anything. As you've seen before, I've called it as a school's name. So let's say, choose a name, any name. Who wants to choose a name? I'll leave it to you. In the chat box, who wants to give me a name? Shall I choose Inside Out? I like the movie. Okay. So I chose the name of a movie. Maybe I can choose different names of different movies, and this is what I'm calling my groups. Then once I start choosing my students, I like that. Beautiful names, way better than mine. So these you can keep them for your classes. I'd say I want the Grow More students. Immediately, once I typed in G, it gave me all the students with the G letter. So I don't have to type in the full name in order to find the student. I can just go ahead and say, yeah, you, and you are going in under the same category. And I can just create the group. That's it. It's created. So when I'm assigning and it tells me who's your target group, I can choose Inside Out now. Now, what about my students? Remember we said the proficiency level is listed. I have in here supplemental language or supplementary language is Arabic. Of course, you wouldn't have that feature. And I can mimic my students. So let me show you. If I go ahead and mimic a student, I would be able to see the platform via their page. So this would show me that I have assigned for them the first read, the road not taken. Anything that they finish moves automatically to their binder. So for the students, it's very simple. It's assignment and binder. That's simple. If they have the assignment, they finish the work, it moves automatically to the binder and it is saved for later use, categorizing it for them in the form of a portfolio. So they can say, I've done one writing, one blast, one skill, one test, or maybe two tests, etc. So it would always be listed for them underneath, as you can see as such. So this way, categorizing for your students, creating them in row by row, box by box, grid form is always very easy. I know, me too. The road not taken has to be everyone's favorite. I agree with you. Now, once I stop mimicking, this takes me back to my page as a teacher. And there are some controllers that I love in here, which is basically my gradebook. So let me show you. If I choose my grades in my gradebook, I'll just go ahead and open the gradebook with you to show you some features you will love. Now, as you can see, I have 2 marks in here and I have multiple views. Now I can view this in score form. I can view this in score breakout form. So this would show me where the total came from in percentages, standard by standard. Yet most importantly, it would be my reteach component. Now, once the students have done some work and there are students who fail to reach proficiency, this would create for them automatically a reteach assignment. You can just create reteach assignment, you click on it, and every student will have the lesson with the modeling and exercise that he missed on. Does this have to be quiz by quiz? Absolutely not. So if I've done 3 tasks, by the end of the week, I can just create reteach assignment, only 1 click, and each student will get the lesson he needs only. So how many clicks for me as a teacher? 1. How many lessons will they take? Sometimes if they're 4 sections, 100 lessons. With a single click for you as a teacher, 100 lessons auto-assigned by the system for all of your students. So reteach taken good care of. So this is where you're asked, what did you do with the data? The data analysis has been done with the system. The assigning has been created. All you needed to do as a teacher is create, reteach assignments. That's simple. Now the color coding is under your control. Let me show you how. So I will choose from underneath my name. I will choose settings, and then I will choose grade colors. These colors are basically, if I set them, I restore default, you would see that there are 3 colors only, but I can add my own segments. So for example, if we decided we need to have an honor list for the class and any student between 95 and 100, we want to add them to the list. So trying to find these marks would be a bit difficult. So let's go ahead and add a segment. We will make it blue and we will make it from 95 to 100. So this way, all the students who got 95 to 100 will be marked in blue, making your life easier. So this is based on your curriculum expectation as a school. For example, for us, our SAND students were below 50 and they were in yellow. So I can add a segment in yellow and I can say that this red is between 51 and 59. And I can say that my yellow is between the controllers of, let me just drag it and drop it and change its place, restore default, and I can do it from the very top by changing the color here and making it in yellow. So this way, changing and restoring colors is that simple, that easy. Now I'm ready for your questions. Feel free to ask away and hope you found this beneficial. The last thing I will say as you're dropping your questions is that you have a history in here, which is your recently viewed. The last things that we have seen together, as you can see, have been added for me in here. My bookshelf is to save any lessons I've liked. So there's always the option to add to bookshelf. Anything you like, you add to your bookshelf is saved for you for your later use, as you can see in here. Any added blasts will be under blast. So this way, you know, we have added new blasts for you to use in case you are interested. So if you have any questions for me, by all means, feel free to ask away. I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you for the hearts. My pleasure, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nisreen. We don't have any questions at the moment. Just Just so you know that although the session is over, do feel free to write to us if you do have any questions. So further on, if you suddenly remember that, oh, I need to ask these questions, do feel free to come back to us. Even if it's not back to school season, we are always here to help.
Absolutely.
Another quick reminder, if you have registered for today's session, you will receive a recorded link within your email in a week or so, because we are in the peak of back to school season, so it might take a bit of time. If you again do visit our back to school webinar web page, where you can find resources which are title specific, as well as classroom activities, blogs, and upcoming webinars. Both title specific again, and a general session designed to support you and your team to kick off your school year. So again, these are free, and you can actually share them with your colleagues or anyone that you think might benefit from the resources. Thanks again for joining us, and thank you, Nizreen, for this session.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me. You were amazing.